All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the work session of the Las Cruces City Council. Today is Monday, December 11th, 2023. It's approximately 1 p.m. If you'd please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, like we always start off our meeting with Pets of the Week. And Amy DeFelix, are you there on Zoom?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and share my screen. Hello everyone. Of course, I'm Amy DeFelix. I'm one of the rescue coordinators. I'm here to present the Pets of the Week. Let me put this on presentation mode. This. And here, oh. There it is. Awesome. And then I'll remove my video, so hopefully it's a little easier to see the text. Well, as always, we start off with our cat of the week. Our cat of the week this week, her name is Cola. Her number is 69563. And she says, I'm a sweet girl who just wants to feel safe and loved. I'm a little skittish with loud noises and fast movements, but as long as you reassure me with some pets, I will be okay. I'm looking for a quiet, calm home that will give me endless amounts of love. And then we also have our dog of the week, which is this handsome boy named Sky. His number is 56182. And he says, I'm a handsome boy looking for a loving and cat-free household to live in. I absolutely love hanging out with people and with other dogs. I'm energetic and love to keep active, so I'm a great buddy for someone who likes to go on walks or wouldn't mind spending a lot of time playing with me. And then as for our events going on, of course, this month of December, we're doing our Home for the Holidays adoption special. The adoptions that have been sponsored by Doñana County Humane Society have all already been used up, but that is okay. The rest of the adoptions are only $75, which is still a great deal, a great discount, and hopefully it encourages people to come and adopt. We do have an offsite adoption event at the farmers market this Saturday, the 16th. We'll be there from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and our booth is usually situated by Organ Mountain Outfitters, so you'll find us around that end. And then today I'm going to do a real brief presentation, mostly just to talk about cold weather pet safety. I know it's getting colder. It's dipping into the freezing levels, especially at night, and it's not even winter yet. So I guess we should probably prepare for a cold winter. Here's some tips and suggestions that like the ASPCA is where I grabbed most of this from, offer to people. So if you take your dog to the groomers, if they're a little bit of a long-haired dog, opt for a trim instead of just like a complete shave down at the groomer. Of course, extra fur will help keep them a little warm. Of course, keep them warm and dry in general if you let them out and it's been a little icy, a little dewy in the morning. Pat them dry, make sure there's a nice like warm towel, something to keep them like kind of sop up that moisture right away and they can get as dry as possible. Dress them in outerwear. This particularly goes for the smaller breed dogs and the dogs with shorter legs. Dogs in general that are a little bit closer to the ground, they are nearer to the cold surface. So it doesn't hurt to help give them a little bit of extra, warmth, especially if they're short-haired as well. So coats or like turtle or high collar sweaters. Of course, like the fleece or the sweaters that do provide warmth and like not something that's like a nylon like shirt, something that is pretty thick and warm that will actually help give them a little bit of cold weather protection. Weatherproof boots. This isn't a complete necessity for most dogs, especially those cold weather breed dogs. They love cold weather. It's not a big deal to them, but those other dogs, and you can test this for yourself if your own personal dog. If you see that they're a little bit more reluctant to go out walking, if you let them out to go potty or go take them out on walks regularly, and if it seems that their feet are uncomfortable because it's a little too cold, you might try boots. There's also, you can coat them in like Vaseline beforehand, because that not only protects them from getting like dry and cracked from the cold, it can also kind of help insulate a little bit as well, and it also just keeps them moisturized. But this is definitely at your own discretion. If you think your pet might benefit for boots, it's definitely a good idea to help maybe train them and get them used to them before they really need it. Of course, after a walk, if they're not wearing boots, cleanse their feet and also their stomach, especially if they're the little low rider dogs, especially when it gets icy, because sometimes it does get icy here. The salt or the kind of substance that they use to de-ice can sometimes get on their paws, or if they're low riders, kind of drags on their stomach. So make sure that that gets all cleaned up so it doesn't irritate their skin. Of course, clean up any antifreeze spills. Antifreeze is toxic, I believe, maybe neurotoxic. It is not good for our dogs to ingest. And of course, if they get it on their paws, if they're walking on it and they lick their paws later, that can cause a problem. So if there's any sort of, like, if you need like refill the antifreeze in your car and it's spilled, just make sure clean it up. Make sure your dog, or I guess even pet cat in general, no animal can get to it, because then that'll be really dangerous for them. Of course, I feel like it's really important to bring them in overnight, especially because that's when temperatures dip the lowest. But there are some people that do end up leaving their dogs outside more often than not. So if we are going to be outside for extended periods of time, definitely make sure they have shelter and a reliable heat source. You just don't want your pets to freeze overnight. That does happen. It's super unfortunate. I know it mostly happens in like extremer colder weather areas, but there are some we do have those couple days during our seasons where it dips in and it gets kind of dangerously low. Definitely don't want to risk that at all for your pets. Here's a cute little example of like the little fleece lined sweater that this little dachshund is wearing. It's thick, it'll keep him warm, and it protects his little belly from anything outside, like the cold or any sort of substance, like de-icing substance, potentially. And then here are some boots and also a sweater. He's already geared up for the winter, colder weather. But definitely keep your pets safe and warm. This is also like if you do have like a colder weather breed, it's definitely used at your own discretion. But there are some dogs, some breeds that are more predisposed to needing some colder weather temperatures, especially here where they might not be used to it. But yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Amy. And next, we're going to see if Sarah Rainey is here with the New Mexico Workforce Connections. Yeah, okay. Hey, hi, Sarah.
Yes, sir. Hello, how is everybody?
Good.
Let me just share my screen real quick. Okay. Okay, for the jobs of the week for the city of Las Cruces, we have a career development coordinator. That position pays from $51,000 to $73,000 depending on experience. The posting closes on January 1st of 2024. We also have for the city of Las Cruces a real estate service specialist. That position pays $23.79 an hour, and the posting closes on the 18th of this month. For White Sands Missile Range, we have an assistant project manager for the Burgos Group. They, depending on experience for pay, and then that posting closes on December 15th. We also have Director of Operations Programs. Let me move this. For Stellar Solutions, the pay depends on experience, and that position is opened until filled. We have for the Mexico Department of Agriculture, a regulatory clerk, paying from $15 an hour to $21 an hour. The posting closes on January 5th of 2024. And then a farm equipment operator for Chili River Incorporated. They actually have 14 positions available, so there's many opportunities for that. That position pays $15.62 an hour, and the posting closes on January 5th. As always, feel free to reach out to us at our Alameda location at 226 Alameda Boulevard. You can also reach us on employeenm.com. We've updated our social medias there to include Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok. We also have our app that you can download at any time. There's multiple ways for you to reach out and get us, and we can help you with all your employment needs. Thank you all for having us.
Great. Thank you very much, Sarah. Okay, so that concludes the pets and jobs of the week. So now we're going to go into the agenda. There's 3 items on the agenda, with the first one being the Visit Las Cruces update, and Rochelle Miller Hernandez from Visit Las Cruces will be making that presentation. And you should probably have in front of your seats some information that she passed out. Cool looking stuff.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. For the record, I'm Rochelle Miller Hernandez, the Executive Director for Visit Las Cruces. We're pleased to be here today to give you an update on all the great things we've been doing this past year. So let's get started. So first I wanted to remind council or refresh you on our team. We are comprised of 11 full-time team members when we're fully staffed, and we usually have 1 to 3 interns, and we'll be sharing with you our intern, the work that our interns do, because it's pretty amazing. Our advisory board is made up of 5 members. 2 have to be with the hotel industry, 2 have to be with a tourism-related business in our city, and 1 general member at large. Currently, our board consists of Belia Alvarez with Heritage Hotels, Russell Hernandez, owner of Salud de Mesilla and soon-to-be mayor of Mesilla, and he's here with us today. Because of his appointment, though, he will be leaving our board at the end of this month. And then we have Heather Reed with the New Mexico Farm and Ranch Heritage Museum, Nicholas Pierce with Town Place Suites, and Alice Caruth, who is currently a podcast producer, but she was very involved, or is very involved with the Las Cruces Space Festival and was with Spaceport America at one time. I wanted to also bring to light a quick recap of the Visit Las Cruces funding source. With the exception of the occasional grant, we are solely funded by the lodger's tax, which is collected when when individuals stay at our hotels. It is a 5% tax, and it does have very restrictive uses. It must be used for the marketing, promotion, and advertising of Las Cruces for tourism to bring visitors to our city. The New Mexico Tourism Department recently did an economic impact report. They don't break it down by city, but for the county, there was visitors spent in FY22 $511 million in our county, and it made up, almost 9% of the jobs are sustained by tourism in our county. And then I have other stats I can share with you as well. If you're interested, I can send it to you or we can discuss it after this. I'm going to pass this on to Albert Herrera, our sales director, to give you some updates on our sales goals.
Okay, thanks, Rochelle.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members. I'm Albert Herrera, Director of Sales for Visit Las Cruces. I'll be speaking to you directly on behalf of the sales team. The primary goal of the sales team is to promote Las Cruces as a desired destination and to generate overnight stays and visitor spending. This is broken down into a team effort. Convention and meetings is currently handled by through me. Sporting events is currently handled by Mr. Ed Carnathan and the Voice of the Aggies. Outdoor recreation, along with leisure and group travel, is handled by Ms. Hillary Dutcher. We are our industry's local liaisons and promotes the city through the power of storytelling. Essentially, we're the face of Las Cruces when we travel. We as a sales team work hard to perfect our craft on informing potential clients of what Las Cruces has to offer. We're consistently networking with organizations, event directors, meeting planners, tour operators, and key potential influencers to inform them on the real New Mexico, Las Cruces. Ways of reaching potential clients that have been proven to be productive for us is through attending trade shows, quarterly newsletters, mailing campaigns, along with familiarization tours. Now, I'd like to highlight real quickly the trade shows that we attend. That probably is the number one thing that's definitely a key for the success of the success of the sales department. When we travel out to these trade shows and meetings, we have roughly about 10 to 15, we have preset meetings that we roughly have between 10 to 15 minutes to interact, engage, build a relationship, get to know them, as well as promote Las Cruces. Now, realistically, 10 to 15 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not. However, the entire conference is designed based on networking. So it's not just about the time that we have to be able to sit in front of them, it's also the time that we get to sit on the bus with them, the time we have to engage during our educational components of the conference, as well as the offsite events that we attend. That is definitely key because you can only do so much via email and via telephone, right? But when you're actually sitting in front of somebody, you're able to engage with them, read their body language, see what highlights you're able to touch base on, and get to know them personally. That is definitely a key to our success. And right quickly, I want to highlight one more thing on regards to that, is those relationships that we do build. Those go a long way. Sometimes those relationships are built overnight, and sometimes they take years. One of the examples I want to just quickly give you guys is the SATW, which is Society of American Travel Writers. I've mentioned this in the past council meetings. However, I want to highlight it again. That was a relationship that I had met with them 2 or 3 years, and just Las Cruces wasn't a right fit for them at the time. Come 2017-18, they provide us an RFP, which is a rate for proposal. They said, hey, we think it would be a great fit for Las Cruces. I took a look at it and said, unfortunately, Las Cruces is just too small. However, El Paso was a fit. So I called up El Paso. We have a wonderful relationship with them. They were able to bid and get the conference. Now, how is that a highlight to us? The highlight to us comes from this. One key component of that was their board meeting. Las Cruces hosted their board, which is roughly consisted of about 25 board members. Now, when they were here for 3 days, had a wonderful time, got to highlight downtown Las Cruces, got to highlight the Chili Pepper Institute, Mesilla, all our wonderful Organ Mountains. They absolutely loved it. The feedback was phenomenal. But here's the key component to that. We continue to build those relationships with them. And because we did that, coming in 2025, one of their board members now represents another organization, which happens to be the Outdoor Travel Writers Association, will be hosting their board meeting here in next year in 2024. I'm sorry, I said 25, but in 2024. So that's definitely, again, it's definitely a positive going through that, building those relationships. In 2023, we were able to host some conferences such as the North American College Teachers of Agriculture, the New Mexico Governor's Conference on Tourism, on the sports side, the Regional Dock Diving Event, NCS International World Series Youth Tournament, New Mexico Bikepacking Summit. Now, some of the numbers that kind of go back to that are, on a national average, for meetings, $234 is spent per person per day. On the sports side, it's roughly about $150 for an adult and $120 per person. So you times that times the amount of days that they'll actually be here. So it's definitely, 2023 is definitely an exciting year for us. Moving forward into the future, back in 2021, the Meeting Planner International released a meeting plan, an outlook. And in that outlook, they mentioned in 2023 roughly would be the year that we kind of come back to those pre-pandemic numbers. I'm excited to say that as of now, we have met or exceeded those numbers. Some groups looking forward for 2024. Again, these come through the relationship buildings and some of the organizations that we've worked with over the years. The New Mexico Outdoor Economic Conference, Rocky Mountain APRA, which is a collaboration and partnership with New Mexico State University. The meetings of American National Cattlewomen Association, Agricultural History Association, and the outdoor, mentioned this a moment ago, the Outdoor Travel Writers Association. As far as for the convention center, the GM, Mr. Mauro Montevalles, is currently here. He was able to provide me a quick update on the convention center. There has been a new HD digital sign along with new furniture installed in the center. In 2024, new carpet replacement is coming. They continue to heavily be involved with the Greater Las Cruces Chamber of Commerce. The center also was a finalist for the Mesilla Valley Community Choice Award and are on the top 10 wedding venues for Las Cruces. The center is also having its highest revenue year and currently pacing ahead of previous years. For 2023, they roughly had about 22 conferences and conventions. In 2024, they're currently on pace to exceed that. They're currently at 30. I like to know that not all meetings held at the convention center are considered a conference and or convention. Some key factors that go into that are the amount of attendees, along with the amount of room nights per night for Las Cruces. Mayor and City Council members, thank you for your time. I'd like to yield it back over to Rochelle Miller Hernandez.
Okay, thank you, Albert. Good information.
So as Albert mentioned, again, it's Rochelle Miller Hernandez for the record. Outdoor recreation is a big part of tourism, and we do have a staff member dedicated to that industry, Hillary Dutcher, but unfortunately she could not be here today. So I'm going to give you the overview. We're proud to announce we are going to be the host city for the 2024 Outdoor Economics Conference. It will be September 23rd through 25th of 2024. If you remember, if you were here when it first started, its first meeting ever was in Las Cruces. And we're very happy to bring it back here next year because it's also the 10th year anniversary of the designation of the Oregon Mountain Desert Peaks National Monument. Perfect timing. Several of you went to our gravel adventure field guide and video launch. So we produced this gravel guide, field guide last year, or earlier this year. It highlights the national monument, talks about wonderful things to do in our city when they're visiting. And just to take note, it's the only one in the state of New Mexico of its kind. And gravel guiding is the fastest growing biking area in the country right now. So we're trying to stay on top of that. Scenic Southern New Mexico is a social media campaign that we do, and it keeps growing. It first started as hiking and hospitality during the pandemic when we were trying to encourage people to go out in open spaces and enjoy themselves, but also support our restaurants and businesses safely. That evolved into Scenic Southern New Mexico, and now we partner with our Southern New Mexico cities, so Carlsbad, Ruidoso, Silver City, Deming, TRC, and we do this huge social media campaign where people share their photos when they're out hiking, but also when they're at our local businesses. We all tag each other, and it's just another reinforcement for the real New Mexico is Southern New Mexico. So we're just showing off all the great outdoor activities in our region of the state. We also have a new trails recreation map, and it's the first of its kind where it is a comprehensive guide that shows all the different, all the different, isn't it great when you can't read your own handwriting? All the different trails in the Las Cruces area. There's a word I'm missing, and I apologize. It's not recorded, but anyways, it's pretty cool. And I brought a sample for you all to see. So if you're into recreational trails and those type of things, we're pretty proud of this map. It's been shown throughout the state, and everyone's really jealous that we have it, and the project took about 1.5 years. It shows on all the trails what type of use, if it's private land, BLM land, can you have an OTV on it, can you go horseback riding, and those type of things. And then a new thing that you're going to be seeing is our new Sunseekers Trails Pass. So for Restaurant Week, we had a pass. It looks like an app, but it's not, on your phone. And people will earn points to go to the different trailheads, but also the businesses. Because if you know if you know a little about outdoor recreation, you do know that when people go hiking and so forth, then they go out to eat or they go shopping, they rarely immediately go home. So this will highlight and force people or reinforce the message for people to go out and do stuff after they go hiking or go on a different trail. And then lastly, part of our efforts is I am currently a member of the Friends of Oregon Mountain Desert Peaks, and Hillary Dutcher is about to be appointed chair of the Rio Grande Trail Commission. So we're really proud about that, and it'll give us a lot of representation here in Las Cruces. And one really cool point I just wanted to make before I pass this on to Lorena on marketing is we track all the data, and I'm sure you've seen the great report, and if you haven't, I'll be happy to send it to you, about the impact that the Oregon Mountain Desert Peaks monument designation has made to our city. But one thing that we noticed when we tracked the data is, although visitation definitely has increased, the demographic that has increased the most for our trail usage is families with incomes of $25,000 a year or less. So I think that is a testament to all the hard work that council and the staff has done to really get the knowledge out there to anyone of any income and background to come out and visit our recreation opportunities. So I will pass this now to Lorena to give you our marketing and media update.
Thanks, Rochelle.
Mayor, Council, I'm Lorena Lozano, the Marketing Director for Visit Las Cruces. For the record, my team consists of Sergio Salinas, Norm Detlef, and our NMSU intern, Nuvia Aguero. The word Rochelle was looking for is established, so they're the established trails in the area. So we launched this year our new branding. It was a really great, successful collaboration with NMCO Creative Studios. Together, we came up with the tagline, "The Real New Mexico." The reason we did this was we needed something bold. We needed something that represented Las Cruces, but not only Las Cruces, southern New Mexico. So it is a bold message, and we do promote outside of the city, outside of the state. So we wanted to be competitive regionally as well as nationally. So we, with our new branding, we redid our visitor's guide completely. We have a brand new website, and we redid our promotional materials. So currently what we're working on is our visitor's guide is being translated into Spanish, and the image you're seeing is the example of that. We are at the very tail end of that review process, and we hope to get that published very soon. With our brand new website, completely redesigned, our engagement, our page views have increased since launch, doubled, and even some cases tripled on our pages all across the board. Our engagement, and that refers to time spent on our website, so people actually engaging with our content, that has increased significantly as well. And we did our visitor's guide completely in-house. Previously, it was in collaboration and was also a community guide, but we are a tourism-directed program, and so we really wanted something that was directing people and tourists and showing them what there is to do in Las Cruces. And so we did that all in-house, and guide requests have increased significantly since launch. And social media is a really great asset that we use across the board, has grown: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and we do that also. Sinuit Media helps us with that. We are no longer on Twitter or X as of November 22nd. Current initiatives, we mentioned our visitor's guide getting translated. We really want to expand our multilingual approach to other promotional materials, so that's something that we are hoping to move forward with. Brand reinforcement, that's a really, really big thing, because we want people to recognize when they say the real New Mexico, that's Las Cruces, that's southern New Mexico. So brand reinforcement is really, really important right now. We are currently in New Mexico, El Paso, and the Tucson, Phoenix area, and this is in relation to the broadcast and over-the-top campaigns that we do. Over-the-top refers to streaming services. So these are our commercials. For a short time earlier this year, we were in Midland and Odessa, but we found that we had a really great response in Tucson and Phoenix. Those are really big drive markets for us. We get a lot of people from that area. Online and social media ads have expanded markets, so because there's a little more affordability and flexibility there, we can go into showing our ads in places like Dallas, Denver, San Antonio, other large cities. So we do make an impact there as well. And we also have high interaction reflected in our click-through rates, so people actually clicking on our ads and our broadcast ads that we put on social media, but also we have a 90+ completion rate for our broadcast and over-the-top advertising. So what that means is we're holding their attention. They're viewing our broadcast campaign and our commercials 90+% of the way through. They're not skipping through our advertisements. This is just a overview of the promotional tools that we use to promote Las Cruces, and I'll just highlight 3 that we can't really show you visuals for, but one is our podcast, Visit Las Cruces Live. Ed Carnathan and Norm Detlef produced the content for that. We currently have 35 podcasts. It's available like on Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, across like mainstream access for people. It's posted every 2 weeks, so twice a month. And our current one that will be posted this week is on holiday food traditions, and that's with NMSU professor and Amazon best-selling author Callie Coffeen. SEO, that refers to search engine optimization. This one really drives traffic to our website. So an example of this is if you Google things to do in New Mexico, we want Las Cruces to be one of the first results that people see. Majority of people don't scroll past that first page to look at search results, so we want to be at the top. And we're doing that also, we're working with NMCO. We've seen really, really great results, and I think that's reflected in our website numbers as well. And then travel writers, bloggers, and influencers. A really great example of this was the influencers that we brought in for Meet Las Cruces earlier in April. We had about 14 micro-influencers. They're not local. They were from like Texas, California, Colorado. So we brought them into Las Cruces for the event, but they spent the entire weekend here. So they ate locally, they hiked, they went to the Farm and Ranch Museum, they attended the event, and then we get promotion through their audiences, their built-in audiences. So we had 34 Instagram posts with about 141,000 reach. And when I refer to reach, that means people that are actually viewing their content. 241 Instagram stories and reels, that resulted in about 86,000 reach, and 31 TikToks, which was about 165,000 plays. So I mentioned our broadcast commercial. If you haven't seen, we have, I think, currently created 4 or 5 that we've been running consistently since launch. This was the first one we did, so if you haven't seen it, we just wanted to show it to you guys. This is how we introduced our brand to people all across the state.
Some things are just meant to be real. Something a little uncharted, with the feeling of desert under your boots. The smell of rust and dirt, with a little polishing to make something real special. How about someone holding the door for you? Or a meal like it's made from home? Go visit Las Cruces, the real New Mexico.
Okay, so I just wanted to show you some examples. The first one is an example of a billboard that we're currently running in between Las Cruces and El Paso. We wanted to show off a lot of different assets in Las Cruces, colorful, bright, catching people's attention. The second thing you're seeing is just kind of scrolling through our new website. We have a video that plays at the top. We're showing people, highlighting content on our website. Our events page is one of our biggest pages and resources that people have to see what there's to do in Las Cruces. And it is free, so events can actually submit their events for free on our website to be featured. Our podcast as well is featured on that. Third, is just an example of one of the social media influencers, a very short clip of one of the reels that they posted, showing off the things that they did when they were here for META. And the last one is a TikTok. You can go view it on our page, but it has 169,000 plus views. And this was chili roasting season. We posted this last year. We reposted it this year. 169,000 plus views. It really translated well, and we got a huge response when we reposted it across all our social media again. And then I just wanted lastly to highlight our internship program. So Nuvia came, she's back there. She's our current intern from NMSU. She graduated this weekend, and she'll be sticking around with us for a little while. Nuvia primarily helps us work on blogs. We do monthly blogs, press releases, helps with website content, social media posts, and that also includes primarily TikTok content. I mentioned photo captions. This is something that some of our other interns work on as well. They've assisted with photos, creating captions for that, and I forgot to include video as well. Another example was we had a recent intern. Her name is Daniela. She did a lot of animation, so we kind of took advantage of that, and she did a really, really great ad for us for Las Cruces Restaurant Week that got a huge response. We got a lot of compliments on our ad, which was really, really nice. We got a really good response with it. She's very talented. And then the second one is one that she and Nuvia, Daniela and Nuvia did together, took advantage of the Wes Anderson trend that was happening at the time and visited Calhoun Farms to do lavender picking, and they put together a really great TikTok showing off what there was to do there. And the last image is just showing off some of the blogs that we've done that really showcase Las Cruces, and these are also used as press releases that go out to media across the state and across the region. And Nuvia has been doing our posts monthly for our blogs. And that's it.
Great, thanks, Lorena. I like those videos, are good.
Again, Rochelle Miller Hernandez. I'm going to wrap this up with just some notable accomplishments that we've done this past year. As Lorena explained, we had our very successful new brand launch. So we're really proud about that. Mita Las Cruces for a inaugural event exceeded any goals. All goals, was greater than we could ever imagine, and we hope you'll be excited for this year because we're going to add some great new elements. Lorena also gave you some stats on that, but I wanted to mention we had over $12 million in PR value for that event, so that was great for our city. The Connemore mural, as all of you have seen, that is an amazing tourism asset. We have people there every day taking photos in front of it, and it really engaged the community. The Las Cruces Marathon last year, or I guess it was this year, last January, was when it became a Boston Marathon qualifier, and it tripled its attendance. The next one will be January 6th. It's my understanding we are already at the last one's numbers, so we're definitely on track to exceed that. And then finally, we're really super proud. So New Mexico Hospitality Association is the Hospitality and Tourism Association of New Mexico. Visit Las Cruces was a finalist in 9 categories. The judging is done by an organization in Arizona. It's not done here in the state of New Mexico, so we don't have the influence of friends, people knowing people. And we won Best Broadcast Campaign for our Real New Mexico commercials, Best New Experience for Mita Las Cruces. Our partners, Russell Hernandez was voted Hospitality Professional of the Year. He won that, which is amazing, well-deserved, and I have to say there were some real amazing people he was in line with, so congratulations, Russell, that's amazing. And then Spaceport America Cup was voted the best overall experience, and that event is great for our city. And lastly, I'd just like to recognize there's 2 staff members that weren't mentioned today, but are very vital to us. Leslie Galbadon, she's our executive assistant and magic maker, we call her. She gets everything, she makes it all happen. And Sanya Benuelos, who most of you have met, our visitor information specialist, who's also just recognized for Cariño for the city for her fabulous service she gives above and beyond for our visitors. And with that, we're open for any questions you may have.
Thanks, Rochelle. Councilor Flores?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Rochelle. So I was looking quickly through this because it does say the lay of the land, and did you know the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo is mentioned, and but what isn't mentioned is how this part of New Mexico was the last holdout before it became part of the United States. New Mexico didn't become a state until 1912, along with Arizona. And nonetheless, Arizona is recognized as being part of the U.S., but we aren't. I mean, you know, when you travel, when you go places, oh, you're from New Mexico. I want to get a passport. I really want to go there. Yeah, well, you just get a ticket. So it'd be nice if something like that, you know, just somewhere. And thank you so much for having the real New Mexico. And I hope you've sent a T-shirt of ours to our governor and to the New Mexico True. Send them a T-shirt.
They're very aware of our branding, Counselor. Thank you.
Oh, they are? Oh,
Yes.
wonderful. I'm so happy to
I
hear
called
that.
them before we launched, and actually, we've been told it's pretty great, so.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. And
Thank
also, Jeff Steinborn was here at our last meeting and did bring us up to speed on how wonderful that outdoor thing has been. So, but thank you so very much, all of you. It's been wonderful working with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Councilor Bincombe?
Thank you. I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say congratulations to you and your team. I think too often we're having conversations up here about the challenges Las Cruces is facing and not enough about celebrating all the incredible, beautiful, powerful things happening in the city, and a lot of that is because of your team. So I just wanted to say thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to also echo that. I know that you won't be here next week, but nonetheless, I want to thank you all for all the great work that you all have done. You know, you've really stepped up and really made it a lot more visible than how it was before the old Convention and Visitors Bureau. So good job, and continue great success.
Can I
Thank
say
you.
one more thing?
Sure.
And Rochelle, I think I've mentioned this to you before, but some airports, I think it's LaGuardia or I don't know which one. No, well, I don't know. But anyway, there are airports throughout the country that show different places in the United States to travel to. And there's just like a short little, you know, video that just shows. Is that something maybe we can do one day?
For Mita, Las Cruces, and the Film Fest, we did have advertising in the Tucson airport. And then currently, are they running Lorena? Yeah, they're running now? Okay. We
Is it-
currently have, when you go down the escalators, we have an ad in El Paso. And then we also have a static ad where you pick up your luggage. Because not everyone going through El Paso lives in El Paso.
That's
They're
right.
visiting El Paso, and we want them to come. So I believe the message is less than an hour away or something like that is the real New Mexico or something similar to that.
Good. Well,
So advertising for airports are very expensive, but we do try to, New Mexico True does highlight our area in some of their ads. And I've seen those in Dallas and Denver, and they're now moving into the San Francisco Bay Area.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you,
You're
Mr. Mayor.
welcome. And thank you, Mayor.
Yep.
We'll greatly miss you. Good luck on your future endeavors. I know we'll be seeing you around.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so next item is going to be 3.2, the Go Bond Project's overall update, and has David Cedillo, but looks like Tony Trevino to me. Okay, Tony Trevino, Deputy Director of Public Works, will be discussing.
Thank you, Mayor. All right. Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. Tony Trevino, Assistant Director of Public Works for the record. You'll see something different here on the title. Go Bond Update 2022. The 2018 is officially off the books and complete. We just had our last ribbon cutting last week for the Animal Service Center, so we can proudly say that staff did an excellent job getting the 2018 bonds done with the exciting time from 2018 through 2023, I guess the pre-COVID and through COVID and everything. So it was fun, and I can only give credit all the credit to staff. So the title is just for the current GeoBot update, which has 4 questions: the new fire station number 9, the East Mesa Public Recreation Complex continuation, affordable housing, and some park improvements. We'll start with the new fire station number 9. On the right, you can see a schematic, which we shared with the last update. There is currently $9.8 million for funding for the project. $723,000 are being used for architectural and engineering services. To this point, the design development is 75% complete, which once it's 100%, we'll get into the start of the construction documents, which will be fast-paced, and hopefully, our plan is, not hopefully, we will be out to bid on April 2024. That will give us approximately 20 months of construction time to get this built, and so Chief is kind of pushing us to get this done and says we can't slack off, so we're moving. And the total estimated cost, we did ask for some additional funding we are going to ask for some additional funding from state legislative, which will bring it up to $13.2 million, which will include the entire project. There's a front view of the new fire station. And then we'll jump into the park improvements, which is La Llorona Park on the corner of the Rio Grande and Picacho. This area has been in need of some improvements for quite some time. So we did get $1.98 million for the park and rec priorities. La Llorona Park has the majority of them, which is our first priority, which would be a restroom upgrade, amenities, some trail repair, some of the furnitures, the trash cans, the receptacles, and benches throughout that area. Right now, we're at 60% complete, and the next steps are to start construction documents. We are currently working with the IBWC, International Boundary and Water Commission, to get a revised permit for this area for our improvements that are going to happen. And we also have an estimated bid date of July 2024. If there is additional funding left over, the second priority is Talbrook Park, which you can see over here is on the southeast part of town, highlighted in yellow. So any additional funding that's left over will be for Parks and Rec to purchase any exercise equipment, amenities to replace in that area. I can see some squinting. Here's Talbrook and Las Alturas area, right there south of the golf course, and I will make that picture more visible in the next meeting. Here's just some photos of up on top, some existing, that's the existing bathroom at La Llorona Park. Some of the sidewalk you can see here, the sidewalk's cracked, so we'd have some ADA improvements. The benches are there. I think that water fountain's been used quite a bit. So down in the bottom, you can see both sides, the north and south side of Picacho. The park will be upgraded with this project. And here is the thing that's we're having to kind of retrofit into an existing envelope is we can't exceed the footprint of that existing bathroom for IBWC. So we're going to make it a 2-stall bathroom. However, it's going to be a lot more updated, secure, and maintenance friendly. You can see here, so in the south side, we'll do some pavement improvements. We'll have an EV charger put in this place, sidewalks and ADA improvements throughout. And here is the East Mesa Public Rec Complex continuation. We've seen this slide before. So the GEO bond on this, with this go around, we got 4.9 million. And part of our SSGRT, we had additional 2 million, which brought us up to 6.9. A lot of this, some of the items from phase 1 were had to be removed due to cost. So that's about 2.25 million, which we're in the current process of getting that constructed as we speak. And that is 60% complete. The Musco lighting is about 1.9 million. Construction is 50% complete. So As of last week, we have 23 light poles have been put up, and that is around the baseball field, the soccer fields, or multi-use fields, and the pickleball court. So there's 23 lights, so that's 50% complete as we speak. And the exciting part is we have all the 8-foot tall or above trees planted as of now. Those are 100%, and I believe there's 700 plantings going on in this area. So, but all the 8-foot tall trees have been put in, and sod. The sod has been put in on the baseball and softball fields and the 2 multi-use fields. We did postpone the 10-acre park just due to weather, and that will be installed in April, just so we can ensure the life of it to catch and grow. And for the new part, the East Mesa, the continuation, 2.75 million, that is under design and 30% complete. And you can see here, the top right corner, in this area is the 2 basketball courts with bleachers and some shades. You can see the landscaping around it. Up on the left side, top left, is the sand volleyball courts with some landscaping, kind of benches, berms to kind of sit and watch it. And down here in the bottom is a new concession stand and the amenities around the restroom and concession stand area. So that is what's going to be included with the next phase. And a bunch of street furniture throughout, benches, trash receptacles, and shade structures. And here I'm going to pass it on to Miss Natalie.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Natalie Green for the record. The third question is the Go Bond question for affordable housing. As an update to the housing investment strategy, it is currently out for public comment, and that public comment period will run through mid-January, and it's available both as a hot topic on the city website and then the Housing and Neighborhood Services webpage. As soon as we get those public comments in, we'll be meeting with our Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, who will vote on that formal recommendation to council with the tentative adoption for February 5th, 2023. An update to the bond sale schedule. We anticipate that first reading, give or take, should be in January, and then the second reading would be in February, with the closing and proceeds dispersed shortly thereafter in March 29th. As an update to our current projects, even though we don't have Go Bond funds, we're obviously working on many, many projects. Three Sisters had their permit issued sometime last week, I believe, and so they are finally in the under construction status, so we're very excited about that. I don't know if council remembers, we also received about $1 million from the governor's office in the form of a grant to help fund this project, so that grant funding is also pending. Padrina Senior Housing, they are in their permit review and they have a tentative closing on December 21st, so they should be starting construction shortly. At Peachtree Canyon Apartments, they're also under permit review and they're planning to close on their funding in the first quarter of the calendar year. We started land acquisition in anticipation of the Go Bonds, and so we're just pending those appraisals and that purchase agreement. So we'll be ready as soon as those funds are dispersed to purchase that property. And then our revolving loan fund pilot program, the first 3 homes are under construction or shortly about to start construction. And then we've also started some pre-development on Amador Crossing. And so the architect has started some preliminary programming and design in anticipation of getting grant funding or pursuing grant funding for the new fiscal year. With that, Tony and I will stand for any discussion or questions.
Thanks, Natalie. Questions? Councilor Bencomo?
Thank you. I just have one question, Tony. On the East Mesa recreational facility?
Yes.
Do you foresee a phase 3 to be needed, or do you think this will wrap up the completion of that park?
Mayor, Councilor Bencomo, Tony Trevino for the record. No, this is just a portion of it. There's, we have, Shodevi has put together a kind of a cost estimate to do the full build out. I think that's still about $20 million out at our current cost. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilor Flores?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Trevino. So $20 million. So when do you project the East Mesa Recreational Complex to be finished? Más o
Finished?
menos.
Mayor, Councilor Fotis, finish is a hard question, but once we get these current phases done, we can open it to public with our existing facilities, the two baseball and softball fields, the soccer, and the pickleball. So as soon as they get this construction away right now, we can safely have public go there and enjoy the facilities.
And then the entire is just, that whole design, that whole dream will still be pursuing that?
We are going to pursue that heavily till we get that entire complex complete. Yes, ma'am.
Probably another 5 years.
I hope not, but
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, well, thanks again, Tony and Natalie, for the presentation. We appreciate all that you do in getting it done throughout all the challenges, from whether it was through COVID or through the increases in prices and labor and supply chain. It's a lot, so thank you. All right, so next, the last one is an update from 828 Productions, which I believe that the young man with the camera is from, because I'm just going to take that for... So he's got Chris Favor in his sights.
Great, be on 2 cameras. Afternoon, Mayor, City Council, Chris Favor, Economic Development for the record. I first wanted to say that I've been very much looking forward to the opportunity for 828 to make this presentation to Council. I'm not sure how many of you have had an opportunity to see the entirety of what they have planned for their campus, but we will be coming back to you next week with the proposed update to their LIDA that was approved in March. And so in advance of that, I wanted to give them an opportunity to come up here, speak with you, explain what they've done currently, what their future plans are, show you some of the things that, some of the renderings that they have, and just kind of show you what the potential impact of their facility will be on Las Cruces. So this week, I'm going to turn it over to Todd Lundbaum, who's the CEO of 828 Studios. Next week, I'll be coming back with the presentation for the amendment to their current LIDA, which was approved in this past March by Council. That included about $900,000 in City Capital Outlay Fund. That was the dedicated cinematic infrastructure funds, and it also included money from the state as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Todd, and I'll be available for questions afterwards.
Okay.
Mayor, City Council, pleasure to be here. My name is Todd Lundbaum, and I'm the CEO of 828 Productions. We are your local studio. 828 is a film partner with the state of New Mexico alongside Netflix, NBC, and we're based here in Las Cruces. We make movies all over the world, but we are a New Mexico company, and we're based here. On this first slide, you see up there in the top right part of a rendering. Throughout this presentation, you're going to see references to 2 different renderings. Just wanted to make a note why there is a difference. We are still finalizing the overall look of...
Todd, excuse me, can you get a little bit closer to the mic?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. We are still finalizing exactly how the 35 acres that we have right there west of the train tracks will be allocated. Perfect. Thanks, Chris. So I thought it might be kind of fun as I go through here. You're going to see some reference images to some films that we've produced. Might be fun just to talk about them a little bit. So the image here from The Last Sun, this was a film we produced a couple of years ago, a Western, that starred Sam Worthington from the Avatar franchise, Thomas Jane, Heather Graham, and Machine Gun Kelly. Any MGK fans on the council? No? Okay, well, he's transitioning to acting, and he's doing a great job. We shot this outside of Bozeman in the middle of winter, single digits, and there was a particular day where Sam and MGK, I don't want to give away the movie if you haven't seen it, but they're fighting for their lives, and it was with the wind chill below zero. I mean, I'm from Idaho. I'm used to the cold. I was bundled head to toe, and I was just doing everything I could not to show the pain in my face. And these two guys are out there. I mean, they're in traditional Western garb, but essentially like less than what I'm wearing now, and they're rolling around in the snow. And in between takes, these guys are in front of like a space heater trying to peel their hands off the pistols, the prop pistols that they're holding. So, you know, these actors people give them a hard time for being prima donnas, but some of them really show up to work. But what I think is more interesting about Last Sun is Last Sun was originally set to shoot here in New Mexico. I was not aware of that. I boarded the project after they had determined that they were going to shoot in Montana. And then as I became part of the film scene here, somebody brought to my attention that this film was supposed to shoot here, but they could not find a movie ranch that could house the production. And so I think that's important to bring up because I don't want that kind of stuff to be happening. I don't want us to miss out on movies. I mean, Westerns should shoot here. Lots of movies should shoot here, but we should definitely be grabbing all the Westerns. And so when we get into some of the renderings later, I'm going to highlight an area that we call the backlot. And the backlot that we have is large enough to build standing sets and to leave those sets. And that's a very important thing in the movie industry. I was recently in Malta, the small island of Malta, where they're getting ready to shoot the sequel to Gladiator, and I was watching them build the Colosseum for the second time. Their backlot is so small that they cannot leave anything standing. So you imagine we've got the real Colosseum, and now here in Malta they've had to build it again twice in order to shoot on it. So we don't want people going to other states. We want to keep those productions that initially look to be initiated here. We want to build those sets. I'm going to mention a few more throughout the presentation, but those things can be built and then used to draw in more productions in the future. Okay, so this here on the right, this rendering, just to orient you all, this is our 35 acres. This is the to the right of the screen is the Santa Fe mining property. The building in the corner, the interesting building, is the cotton gin. And then the property to the west of that is the old Calcott property. And as part of that image, in the lower part, there is an existing 30,000 square foot warehouse building that we will be retrofitting into a soundstage starting first thing next year. Some of the other buildings there, and I apologize that I don't have like a laser pointer to highlight this for you, but you'll see sound stages on both properties. Oh, thanks, Chris. Hey, look at that, cooking with gas now. All right, so these buildings here and here, these are purpose-built sound stages. There is a trend in the industry. I don't know if it originated in Europe or our partners in the north in Albuquerque, but they're building these massive concrete tilt-up sound stages that up until recently were really only required to maybe shoot a Marvel movie, but it just seems to be what has taken off in the industry as the standard, and so we are working through the feasibility on some different designs there. But we will look to pepper the property with purpose-built sound stages, offices, mill, and then this area here is that backlot that I was talking about, where we can build sets and leave them standing. I think it's important to note that when you think of 828, we're not just here like making a movie or building a soundstage. We're really here to build, develop, and establish an industry here in Las Cruces. We've seen the kind of dollars that film brings into the state, and it's our job here to make sure that southern New Mexico and rural New Mexico is getting its share of those productions. So that is first and foremost in our mind and really baked into the DNA of what we're doing. So more about us. Maybe the best way to talk about us is just to talk about some of our films. Here in the lower left is a still from a film called The Fallout. Some of you may be familiar with it. In that photo is our star Jenna Ortega, who had done some work for Disney before this, but after this film, she kind of blew up, was part of the new Scream franchise reboot, and she's also Wednesday Addams on the Netflix show Wednesday, and then that's our director, Megan Park. You know, this film sat, Megan's our writer-director, this film sat in a drawer at ICM for several years because all the studios were afraid to make a school shooting movie. It got handed to me, and 10 pages in, I thought, you know, this isn't necessarily for me because of my age or demographic, but this was a very important film that we thought we needed to make. And we're glad that Warner Brothers and South by Southwest, which we swept the awards there, and the rest of the world agreed because it's been received favorably, not just in the US, but it's a hit internationally, which was another surprise sort of thing because we don't typically think in the industry that the rest of the world cares about US teenagers and kind of what they're going through. The image to the top right, Raven's Hollow. This is a really interesting film that we did. It's about Edgar Allan Poe, but it was like a reimagining of his life, and it focused on him in his early life. And usually when you see Poe in a movie, you're seeing the old guy. But I mention it because we built that entire town in Eastern Europe. And that's another example of a project that town should have been built here, and then the set would still be standing on our property, and we'd be free to use it for other productions or add or subtract as we may see fit. So this is our executive team. There's over 80 years of experience in these 4 individuals here, and I think more importantly, I'd like to note that 2 of them live here in Las Cruces. So while we have and maintain our presence in California, we are a Las Cruces company, New Mexico company. And if I may, I'd like to hand it over to Robert Dean, our head of production.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. My name is Robert Dean, and I'm head of operations, 828 Productions. And just to, I think, highlight or segue into what Todd was talking about with this executive team, you know, I've been in New Mexico pretty much my whole life, born, raised here, have been in Las Cruces for 10 plus years. I went to New Mexico State University. I left New Mexico for a short period after that time to chase my film career. But New Mexico is home for me, and that's what's most important, and has always been most important to me. So I want to just highlight the fact that I think what separates 828 from some of the other film partners or maybe some of the other studios that you might see is there's a real thoughtful intention behind the team and the hiring process. I think the easy path would have been to just go hire a bunch of executives and team members out of California, but they looked locally. And the moment that I met Todd, we kind of hit it off and started discussing Las Cruces. What were the strengths? What were the weaknesses of the film industry here? And I appreciate his willingness to look here. And I think there's kind of 2 points to that. And one is my belief personally that we've got so much talent here in New Mexico. We always have. Unfortunately, we've exported a lot of that talent. And I think Todd and this executive team recognized that we need to foster that talent, and we need to retain it, we need to support it, and we need to create a pathway for people to stay right here in Las Cruces. And so that's special to me, and then I think secondary to that, when you look local, you're looking at a team, which I'll skip to the next slide. This incredible team. These are 10 out of 12 of these individuals are all local to Las Cruces. These are all Las Cruces folks that have been here in the community for years. And I think by looking locally, what you find is you find stewards of Las Cruces that genuinely care about this town, the community, the people that are here. And so as head of operations, I've got the fortunate position of getting to go assemble this amazing team of individuals that I've worked with personally throughout my career. And we've brought in, I think, so many incredible talent that's been here in the community working for years to drive and really prove the concept that Las Cruces is a very viable film hub. And so I get to brag about these guys, which is what I love. And so just to mention a couple, John Sepp over here, who, former film liaison at Film Las Cruces, now works with 828 Productions. John has been an advocate. He has been a steward again of bringing in projects, working with the local community, working with the educational institutes. And so that is the culture that we want to create and continue to foster here. We also have Rajiv, who is a professor still at NMSU, longtime friend of mine, but he's a steward of the creative right over here at the university. And so what a better, how could you not find a better team member to bring into the organization to help us strategically develop a plan to be working with those institutions and the community, be training them with the skills that they will need to translate into coming to the workforce. And so, I could spend hours bragging about all of these incredible individuals. We've got some of them here. Some of them are out because they're under the weather. But what you're going to come to see, I think, over time is we're going to need more seating in here because we're going to keep filling it up with more and more 828 members. So I'm just genuinely excited for this team, the goals that we've set out to accomplish, the incredible diverse skill set that each one of these individuals have. And just to mention two of these individuals, the only two that don't currently live here in Las Cruces. One of them lives in New Mexico, up north. We're trying to gravitate him down. Wyatt Turner, who's here from Louisiana, was born in New Mexico, and we're just working on getting him back down here too. But we've also got two recent graduates from NMSU, Hannah and Jen, who I believe are, here in the audience with us, that are now working inside of our company in very different skill sets, but just goes to show you that it is very diverse, the type of jobs that we can offer. So just to segue into two of our key divisions that have really taken off recently. We've put a lot of time into the development of these divisions. 828 accounting and payroll is really the backbone of so much of this industry is the accounting and the financing. And what that allows us to do is give transparency into how the dollars are flowing through these projects from the very inception until the final delivery of the project. And accounting is one of these sectors within the film business that's quite often overlooked, and there's also a huge demand with it. But what we recognized within this, Cindy Turner here, who leads this division, is one of the top film accountants in the nation. And we worked with her on previous projects, brought her in to run this division, and we've hired one local within this team. But I think what's important to recognize, or what we recognized within this, is this is again another transferable skill. There are accounting students right now at NMSU that have the skills that can then translate over into film accounting and to be able to work firsthand or behind the scenes on these film productions. And so this is an area that we're really excited about because it can continue to grow, and we can continue to work with the educational institutions here to build that local depth. And we believe that this is an area where we can really staff up a very deep local bench of more and more 828 local team members and retain them right here in Las Cruces. Secondary to that is post-production. Post-production has been a very hot topic throughout New Mexico for quite some time now. I think it's important to note it's such a hot topic because film production in the grand scheme or the life cycle of a film is really just a small segment, but post-production, just like the accounting, is one of these areas that these are full-time jobs, full-time, well-paying jobs. And because of what we have right here at NMSU and DACC, they're actively training these students up in all of these post-production skills. And this is a much-needed area of focus within the industry at large. And because of how we've been poised and positioned with the film incentives and because of the local economy, this is an area that we're very excited to ramp up. We're actively working through who is going to be the head of that division. We're bringing in a professional head of post-production, just like we did with Cindy, and that's really valuable because you have these students who then get to come work underneath an industry professional that is working at the highest degree, and what better way to be trained and to learn and to continue your path throughout this industry. And so post is something that we're very, very excited about. And with that, I will kick it back over.
Thanks, Robert.
Mayor, City Council, for the record, Todd Limbaum again. So to give everyone an introduction or a refresher to our overall infrastructure plan, in addition to the $300+ million that we'll be spending on film production over the next 10 years, we intend to spend a minimum of $75 million in infrastructure. On the slide here, you'll see another photograph kind of referencing, you can kind of get your bearing, you can get your bearing here with the mountains behind and the electronic caregiver building there. These are the building that says A1 with 828, that's one style of soundstage that's being contemplated, and then you've got support buildings here. The master plan is constantly evolving. We've got our fingers on the pulse of what the market is looking for in a real-time, daily way, because we're getting calls from people from New Mexico Film Office and from producers all around the world saying, hey, do you have this? Do you have a stage? How big is it? Is it available? Do you have backlot space? Do you have office space? Do you have post-production? And so we you know, with any large-scale development like this that is taking that real-time feedback, there absolutely is organic shifts as the prevailing winds change. But that's, I mean, we're as the smaller of the three film partners, we are perfectly positioned. That's what a small company can do is we can pivot and we can make a decision on a Thursday and implement it on a Friday. It doesn't take weeks and weeks of process. I think it may be important to just note to people that aren't keeping a close eye on the industry, we did just come out of 6 months of inactivity because of a writer's strike that turned into an actor or SAG strike. That has now been resolved, and we are poised to move forward in a big way. But I do think it's important to note that happened. That was real. We were days away from starting a production when that happened, and we had to shut down. We're very fortunate as a company that we have so many irons in the fire. A lot of my peers that are just filmmakers, they didn't have a job to do really for the last 6 months. So very fortunate in that. On this slide, you'll see in the top right more from the rendering that shows the 35 combined acres to the west of the train tracks. Studio Lot 1, Santa Fe Mining, this is an existing office, and right here would be the cotton gin, and then this again is the existing warehouse. We are retrofitting that warehouse because it's the quickest path to getting a soundstage up and running in Las Cruces so that we can start capturing more of these productions. Excuse me. The image here in the lower left, this is from our property here, just a few blocks over next to the plaza on Main and Griggs. And this is a unique space in that it'll be used for film production, but because it is downtown, we're contemplating like how do we make that space more dynamic so that it can be used for other things as needs may arise. We're working closely with Sandra and Tony from Enchanted Sun Realty. They are amazing people and very creative, and Sandra brings so much to the table. We're very lucky to have her, and I'm excited to share with you all and the rest of the town kind of the plans that she has for this property. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to John Sepp.
Thank you, Todd. Mayor, City Council, my name is John Sepp. I am the Manager of Operations and Public Affairs for 828 Productions. It is my great pleasure to be here before you all once again. The film industry in Las Cruces and southern New Mexico and the opportunities that come with it would not be possible without you all sitting behind this desk, city staff as well. So it's incredibly exciting to be up here and working with 828 Productions in that capacity. I'm excited to share some cinematic infrastructure updates for 828 Productions as it relates to these 4 properties that you see up here. These are areas of focus that we'll be bringing online in 2024. And we're strategically focusing on this first round of construction to service our initial slate of productions for 2024. .1053 Hainer Avenue is our Studio Lot 2, and it will be home to 828 Productions' first soundstage-specific construction. As we roll out our master plan for a complete overhaul of the site, we will fill the construction timeline gap with a unique approach to a soundstage environment that will allow us to service productions in the immediate future. 828 Productions has contracted quite a few experts to guide our studio infrastructure plans. One of those experts is Rick Clemente. He was the studio operator and pioneer of I-25 Studios in Albuquerque. It was previously a microchip manufacturing plant and now is Cinele Studios. The consultants overseeing our master plan are heavy hitters in the soundstage construction world. One of those consultants is Britt Penrod. He has worked with companies like Amazon Studios, NBC Universal, Paramount Pictures, and over the course of his studio design, development, and oversight efforts, has brought more than 70 sound stages online across 6 different countries. Another industry consultant that we are working with is Gary Bastian. Gary Bastian and his company, Bastian and Associates, helped pioneer the use of tilt-up concrete technology in sound stages. As 828 Production plans to focus the first phase of purpose-built sound stages, office space, support infrastructure, warehouse retrofit on Lot 2, the property at 300 South Compress with the old Cotton Gin will initially focus on the ancillary services and needs to support that facility on Lot 2. This will include office space, vehicle and trailer storage, vehicle and trailer parking, vendor support, and various other needs the film production facilities will require. 106 South Miranda is our campus that will be the hub of film production in Las Cruces. Internally and externally, this facility will provide the necessary space for administrative office and production support activity, as well as a filming destination and workforce development arena. This will be a space where ideas are born, scripts are written, budgets are created, and schedules are managed. And you'll notice since I made this slide, internally we are voting on different names to call these different properties, and my personal choice is the Hot Brick Church, and I made this slide, so I put Hot Brick Church in there, and I'm hoping that it'll help sway the vote with my team to get that solidified in our branding. 100 South Church is located in the heart of downtown Las Cruces and will become a beehive of activity for office space tailored to production activity, vendor administrative services, and co-working space. There is also a studio apartment located on the second floor of that building, and we're really excited to tailor that towards hospitality for producers, directors, above-the-line talent, providing them with the best access to downtown and the activities that Las Cruces can provide. Thank you for letting me give you a brief overview of what these properties will look like in 2024. I'm excited to hand the mic back to Todd to talk a little bit about our production slate. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Mayor, City Council, for the record, Todd Lundbaum again. So, production pipeline. Important to call out the photo top left there. This is a film that we produced here locally. I don't know if you can make this out. This is Cortalitos Ranch. The ranch out by the airport there. Emil Hirsch, Stephen Dorff. This is the project that kind of brought this team together. This is the first film that I financed here in New Mexico. I was already in talks with the state at this time, and I came down. I'd agreed to finance the movie and then found out I was shooting in Las Cruces, and I was like, hey, that's the place they told me to check out. So I came down and immediately fell in love. For anyone that attended the speech that or the presentation that the governor put on a little over a year ago, I won't go through the entire story again, but this is where Robert and I got connected, and it was really during this production that I don't know, the idea of moving 828 to New Mexico and to Las Cruces was cemented, but also it was during that film that Robert and I really kind of hashed out what was working and what wasn't working, and why did we think we could come here and do it different and do it better. And so there's a little inside joke at 828 because the film is called The Price We Pay, and it was the price we had to pay to figure out what we're doing here. So enough about that. Coming up in 24, you'll see 4 different projects mentioned here. There's a 5th studio project that actually has come online in the past few days. Even since we created this slide, it's the 3rd film in a horror franchise that was set to shoot in Georgia, and we're stealing it and bringing it here, which is exactly how I want everybody to think about us as we are out there looking to steal your movies and bring them to New Mexico. Moist is Moist. The other 2 are redacted because we don't have the clearance to release the title yet. So I apologize for that, but you can see they're large scale productions. But Moist is like a dream come true for me. the character, the gentleman in the top left of the slide is Barry Sonnenfeld. Barry started his career as a cinematographer for the Coen brothers and then went on to helm franchises like Men in Black, Get Shorty, and The Addams Family. Barry has never done an indie movie. Barry has worked for the studio system his entire career, 50 years in the studio system. Moist was originally written to be a studio movie. It's been around for a few years. They just couldn't figure out how to make it at $65 million because the studio doesn't know how to get out of bed for less than that kind of money. And so Barry was looking for an independent studio that could support his vision. And a mutual friend that we have connected Barry and I, and Barry came out to Las Cruces. You see us scouting. We're right there at the corner by Grounded, by Sandra and Tony's place. I'm laughing because the guy didn't stop for like 18 hours. I mean, he's in his mid-70s, and I think he could have just gone all night and all the next day, and I was struggling to just try to keep up with him. But to people that aren't in the industry, this may not carry as much weight, but for a successful studio filmmaker to agree to make an independent film, for his team to agree, you know, you got to remember all those people that work for him that get part of his fee. They're terrified that he's ever going to take a chance ever doing anything. Part of the reason everybody says, "Why is there so many crappy movies on?" It's because everybody's afraid to go in the meeting like, I don't know if we should make another one of these movies. Maybe we should try something else. There's a huge fear in the industry to take a chance on something. So the fact that this artist is willing to take a chance on us as a studio partner is an honor for me, and to be able to bring him here to Las Cruces to make this movie it's huge on its own, but the underlying thing that I'm hoping comes out of this is we know it'll be a success, and from there we want the word to get out that this is the place for studio filmmakers to come to make their indie movie. That's a huge opportunity for us, because there's a lot of filmmakers that don't step this side of $100 million. Doesn't mean they don't have smaller projects that they are invested in. They just don't know how to do that. And I think this is another niche that I'd like us to focus on. Another project of note is Die Well. And this is another project that I stole from somewhere else. This screenplay was originally written for Australia. I read it, I loved it, I optioned it, and then I told the writer, we're changing it to New Mexico. And when they got over the initial just sort of, I don't know, shell shock of being like, hold on, I've spent years crafting this story to take place in one area, and now you're asking me to move it. And I said, give it a try. And once Maz sort of opened up to the idea, he committed to a full-on rewrite, and this story now lives and breathes in Las Cruces. And the writer, when it was all done, said, "Thank you. This is a better story." And so maybe the subtext again of this story is how 828 is perfectly positioned to be bringing projects from elsewhere and showing them why they should happen here, and why they can happen here, and how we can help facilitate that happening. This is kind of a sample of some of the leads we're out to. We also are about to go out to a New Mexico favorite, Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad. So let's get Bryan back to New Mexico. All right, I'm gonna hand it off. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. So Robert, are you guys alluding to that Liam Neeson will actually be here in Las Cruces? Okay, so I don't normally, he's one of my favorites, so you need to, I know I'll be out of office, but you need to reach out to me.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Thanks again, Mr. Mayor, City Council. For the record, Robert Dean again. I'll wrap this up fairly quickly, but I think you'll hear me say a lot of 2 or 3 terms very consistently. The team probably gets tired of it, but ecosystem, reverse engineering, that's kind of at the heart of our philosophy. When you think of workforce development, really I'd say the heart or the backbone of what we've tried to instill and put in place is hiring these industry professionals, getting them relocated down here or to be working with us actively to train the existing team, to create a mentorship type program, working with the universities, working locally with the community. And so this is a very important aspect of this for me and for us as a whole at the company. And so, you know, we've built our business plan, our structure in what I like to think is a very thoughtful way. It's when you think of film production, I think very often all we think about is the physical making of the movie and what we watch on screen. But the truth is that life cycle from end to end is sometimes years and years of process. And that process is only as good as your team. Your company is only as strong as the team behind it and the leaders that you have. And so we've really tried to build out these various divisions that cover start to finish end of this ecosystem and create it in a closed loop type system. So just to highlight a few, I mentioned post-production earlier, and that's an exciting area that we're excited about for the workforce, the pipeline, the sustainable job creation that exists within it. Production services is, you know, the nuts and bolts of making the production. And so we get in on these productions very early on. We are crafting these very early on to be very strategic in the approach of how that movie will conduct itself in this community and what the cast will look like and what their experience looks like, and likewise what the experience for the town and the crew members and everybody working on that will look like. 828 Originals and 828 Origins, the projects that Todd mentioned earlier, those are our 828 Originals, so you can think of those as our in-house projects that we are developing, and we've at any given time probably have 15 to 20 of those on our roster, and it takes a lot of brain power to reverse engineer and put these projects together to get them to the viable point where they actually are filming. And Origins is this really unique development arm of our company, and this is really the inception point of where all films start. And so you can think of this as the screenplay, you can think of this as that original idea. And so we launched this division really with the impotence of, again, there's so much creativity here within the industry, and the film industry at large is difficult to navigate at times, even for people who have been in it for many years. It is difficult to navigate the nuances of it. And so what we've done is assembled a team of industry professionals who have spent years within this business and created really like a mentorship type development arm, to where if you have a screenplay or you have an idea, you can find us at 828origins.com, and we help really use our expertise, our knowledge, what we've seen that works, that doesn't work, and we help assemble those key building blocks so that then we can put that initial puzzle pieces and package together to move it into an original, where then we are developing these projects for Las Cruces. And so what's really exciting about Origins and what we've seen so far is it really acts for a funnel where we get first look into projects, not only here in New Mexico, but nationwide, and we get to get in early and help them reorientate those projects for New Mexico and for Las Cruces. And so it's really this incredible development arm, and it requires a lot of teamwork to put these projects together. Accounting and payroll, I mentioned that earlier. Again, just such an incredible business within 828 and within the film industry, and so we're excited to continue to see how this builds out and to continue to build the local depth within this. So if any of you guys have friends or family members that have worked in the accounting business or are in school for accounting, please send them our way, because we would love to get them into film production accounting and show them a little bit of a different variance to how exciting, I guess, that accounting can actually be. And then lastly, the Rural Initiative is something that very new, but something that we've all been very excited about, and we're just now launching this. The Rural Initiative was really, the inception of it was built around my experience as a film producer, as a production manager, and what I often saw with the projects that I was bringing here or anywhere else is there is always expectations to be managed for the landowners, for the business owners, for the community, for the filmmakers themselves, and it is very delicate because all the hard work that goes into protecting this ecosystem that we're trying to build, it only takes one bad project or one bad producer to unravel all of the effort that we've put into it. So the Rural Initiative is 828's initiative to create protection for the business owners, for the landowners, for the filmmakers, to make sure that everybody has the best experience possible. So part of that is us vetting these locations agreements to make sure that these individuals, these business owners are actually getting paid as they're supposed to. And so it's also site representation to make sure that, again, as stewards, when these films come in, that they are upholding that degree of protection that we hold sacred, to make sure that they're not essentially coming in, using and abusing, and then leaving town. We want the businesses to have a great experience. We want the filmmakers to have a great experience. And this is just kind of that behind the scenes work that's going to go into laying a strong foundation so that over time, everybody here looks at Las Cruces and says, that was the best place I ever made a movie. Because of the crews, because of the people, and that's what makes New Mexico, but Las Cruces so amazing in my opinion, is the people that exist here. And so we want to uphold that, we want to protect that, and so that's really what the Rural Initiative is us just really doing the community work, working again with individuals, business owners, to let them know the inside scoop on what we're hearing as well, as far as what the needs are from production and how we can help facilitate that on our end as well as on their end. So thank you guys very much for having us. It's an honor. And with that, I believe we open it up for questions.
Great, we appreciate it, Robert. Questions? So let me just ask you something as far as, and I'm glad to see Larry here. So as far as the renovations that you all are doing, have you all had a chance to work with our community development office? Because I'm going to guess that your area falls within the infill area, which gives you a lot more benefits. You know, they waive certain fees, certain building permits, stuff like that. Have you had a chance to work with them yet on that?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and City Council, and for the record again, Todd Lumum. We have. I may hand this question over to John.
Mayor, Council, John Sepp. Yes, we have been working very closely with Larry and his office, more so recently with the property at 106 South Miranda, and going through the infill development process to get the land uses for our needs and that area going. And they've been wonderful to work with, and that process went really well, and we're really excited to be embraced by the neighborhood in addition to that. And so having Larry's guidance and his team's guidance helping us walk through that process, as well as giving us those tidbits of advice of, make sure to work with the community that you're in, keep them educated. And I'm finding that, I get texts constantly from people, helping us secure the area, letting us know when we've got break-ins. We've got some really good security around there with our security cameras, but the neighborhood is an additional layer to that. And we're excited to work with Larry and the city staff going further with the rest of the properties we have in Las Cruces.
Councilman Como?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for bringing that up. I don't really have a question. I also just wanted to thank you for your intention around working with like homegrown folks. Sandra Espiritu helped me buy my first house, and now she's helping you buy these incredible properties. So she's a wonderful person, and they run a wonderful business. And but I do want to thank you the work you've done with the Alameda neighborhood and like really integrating yourself into their meetings and just being a really good neighbor. I think that means a lot to them for, you know, a neighborhood that they really care about. And so I really did just want to thank you all for the intention behind those relationships that you're building locally.
Were you going to say something? Thank you, Councilor. Were you going to say something, Councilor Flores?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say thank you, John, for you started out with this several years ago, and there were some bumps in the road, and I'm just really happy you stayed. And I think changing your last name made a difference. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you so much, and thank you, gentlemen. I'm so happy that you're here. And you're in an area where I looked at that and I thought, oh, we can have we can have housing there. But this is even better because it's really, well, we still need housing, but insofar as generating all this work and all this aspiration, and I think that's what New Mexico needs, or at least, yeah, so we need. So thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, John.
Thank you, Councilor. Okay, so just a couple more things, John. So how many studios are there in New Mexico, just approximately? I know there's one in Albuquerque, right? And one in Santa Fe, maybe?
Mayor, City Council, there are about 7 different facilities with varying amounts of actual sound stages in New Mexico. Albuquerque Studios, I-25, Fulcrum, NBC Universal, the Albuquerque Journal has a stage in Albuquerque, Santa Fe Studios, there's a couple more, but those are the ones.
Do you know how many have actually, and I too appreciate you all and your investment in purchasing the studios or working to build. Do you know of those 7 that you mentioned, how many actually, are some of them just renting it, or are they actually buying it as you all have done?
Mayor, City Council, good question. So the majority of the studios that I just mentioned are primarily purchased. One thing to note, Netflix studios are for Netflix-only productions, and same thing with NBC Universal. So one of the things that you're seeing with Albuquerque Studios being taken offline by Netflix is an increasing need for soundstage space. That is also one of the reasons why we are focusing our immediate attention on the 30,000 square foot retrofit, because we're seeing the interest on a daily for soundstage space. There's no soundstage space available in New Mexico at the moment. Same thing with backlot space.
Okay, and the reason why I bring this up, and you may be aware of this, recently the chair of the Senate Finance Committee is and it looks like it's gotten some traction here, wants to look at some of the incentives that are going to the film industry. And they want to know if the ROI is good. And all I was going to suggest is to make sure they know that when you all do what you're doing, the cities also benefit from the tax rolls that you put on there, as well as, and I think Councilor Bencomo mentioned about, I don't know, someone who helped you do the financing, that money that you're paying to the financial institution also, I don't know if it's New Mexico, but hopefully stays here, and that also, helps build jobs as well. So that's all I'm going to say. I'll be reaching out to the chairman and let him know that I'm supportive of this. I think if there is going to be be able to help those that are investing. You all stuck your neck out, you did a lot, and I think it's important that the state still has your back, basically. And that's one of the things that I'll convey to the chairman. But I was just curious if you all knew that they're looking at doing an audit, because they're saying that right now I think it's about $100 million that the state gives, and it's looking to go up double in the next few years. So they want to make sure that the return on investment is good, and I just thought, be sure to put about the taxes, talk about all the other stuff, that even though you're bringing in money, you're also buying businesses as well, and that's a huge return for us.
Yeah, Mayor, City Council, on that note, I would like to mention something that my coworker Chris Shepard and I have recently started working on. We've been following with those committee meetings over the last 6 months pretty intensely, and we are actually taking the notes that those committee members are asking on the type of ROI that they would like to see and the way that they would like that laid out. And so internally, we're actually preparing our economic impact data to reflect what those committees are looking for and what EDD will look to put together in the next year. So our internal reporting will be directly in line with what the state is looking to see.
Very good. And one last thing, and I'm glad to see what you all are doing, trust me. But are you all familiar with the Sawmill District in Albuquerque? So if you look at one of my State of the City addresses, I mentioned 3 things. I mentioned the land across from Mountain View. I also mentioned the El Paseo corridor, and I kind of danced around that area where you're at because I wanted to do that as something similar to Sawmill. How you have that the cotton gin, and so that was going to be the cotton gin district. But hey, when the governor announced that you all were bringing this studio here, I thought, well, there goes that. But hey, good for you. This is going to be great. This is really a great investment for the city. I'm really proud of all that you have done to make it move. And this is going to be really cool. And don't forget about Liam Neeson when he gets here, okay? So
Stop looking at Bryan Cranston.
yeah. I mean, that guy's an incredible actor. I mean, I like the others too, don't get me wrong, but Liam is pretty cool, so. Okay, nothing further? Anyone from the public? I mean, we've got a little bit of time here if you want to say anything. No? Okay, well, thanks again. We appreciate it, and best of luck to you, and everything looks very exciting.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time.
Okay. All right, if there's nothing further, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second by Flores.
Motion made by Councilor Graham, Councilor Bencomo, and second by Councilor Flores. Christine?
This is on the motion to adjourn the work session. Councilor Abeyta is absent. Councilor Graham? Yes. Thank you. Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta is absent, and Mayor.
Yes. Okay, we're adjourned. It's 2:52 p.m. Thank you.